Hi, this is Jennifer Kingston, and I am doing my video discussion number 1, Survival is Sneakiest. Question number 1 asks, what does fitness mean in evolutionary terms? I'm going to define what fitness means according to Larson in Essentials of Physical Anthropology. Fitness is defined in some measure of the propensity to contribute offspring to future generations, usually by the next generation. Fitness can be defined in reference to individuals in a population or specific genotype. This means that some genotypes have more or less fitness than other genotypes, meaning the average number of offspring produced by parents with a particular genotype compared to the number of offspring produced by parents with another genotype. Having a higher level of fitness should allow a species to reproduce more, passing on more of their genotypes, creating more offspring that will pass on the same genotypes. Now, when it comes to crickets, the fitness is best described in a cartoon by the Royal Society of Comics called Survival of the Sneakiest. Crickets reproduce by males calling females. If he is big and strong, then his call will be strong and loud. And since females are in need of a strong, healthy mate to fertilize their eggs, she hurries to the strong and large male cricket. But a weaker and smarter male cricket could be nearby, and as the female is heading towards her potential mate, he swoops in and starts calling her or wooing her. Since she's in need of fertilization, she willingly mates with the weaker, smarter, and sneakier male cricket, passing on his genotypes instead of the stronger male. Now, is calling good or bad for cricket's fitness? Calling is good for cricket's fitness because it's a way that the males let the females know they're ready to mate. And the females allows the females to go and be fertilized and let them know they're ready to reproduce as well. And the females are attracted to calling males, but females crickets are not the only thing that's attracted to calling males. And that would be the bad part of calling, is that it lets bats and other predators know that they are there too. And in some cases, the big, strong, loud males get eaten before a female finds them, and then additionally contributing to the weaker but smarter crickets to mate with the female and passing on his genotypes. Now, not all strong, loud male crickets will get eaten by bats or other predators, or thwarted by sneaky males, and they will be able to pass on their genes of the loud, stronger type. Now, there's 3 examples of selection at work in eliminating the crickets, the traits in crickets that did not enhance their survivability. 1, the male calling loud and strong caused the predators to know of his location, thus maybe possibly eating him. The weaker male was hiding in a cave, not calling the female, and if he doesn't have a loud one come along, then he can't reproduce. The cricket being out in the open allowed a human or any other thing to come by and possibly step on him or eat him, or step on him, or be swept away by something. Number 4's question is, what would I say about the natural selection occurring in the story? I actually found 3 examples. In the cricket's cartoon, the male that inherited a loud, strong call was able to announce his desire to mate. And this, if that actually happened really naturally and wasn't thwarted by anything, then his ability to call the females would be able to possibly make the allele frequencies to shift in one direction towards loud, strong, and capable male crickets. Stabilizing, which is actually the highest occurrence in this story, is by loud males doing the calling and the sneaky males piggybacking off of his call. In essence, both could mate. More than one female could come to the call. One can get intercepted by the sneaky one, and the another female could get the strong, loud male, thus allowing both genotypes to equally be passed on. Now, the disruptive selection, if only the strong, loud male cricket goes on to produce, the sneaky, less ones will eventually die out. If the sneaky ones continue to intervene and mates with females, eventually the calling gene could be eliminated. And in what specific way is the environment influencing the cricket's calling? Well, it says on here that the moon and the stars were out and the gentle breeze chirping crickets, and it was a perfect night, meaning that a clear night, less stormy, no clouds, no high winds that could possibly affect the calling gene to be traveling along. So I hope that works. Thank you.